Welcome to Dinar Daily, where we are tracking a story that many have been anticipating for years. Today could be a significant moment, a potential turning point that the financial world has been closely watching. What is reportedly unfolding in Iraq is being described by many observers as nothing short of historic. After years of speculation, endless debates, and countless delays, the long-discussed revaluation of the Iraqi dinar appears to be crossing from the realm of theory into a real, confirmed phase. Yes, you heard that correctly. We are talking about reports of an official release of new, lower denomination notes, something that many experts have pointed to as the final key indicator of Iraq's comprehensive economic transformation. What is reportedly happening right now is sending waves of discussion through global banking circles. If these reports continue to align, this may be the confirmation moment that everyone has been watching for. So, over the next few minutes, we're going to break down what these new notes mean, what is reportedly happening inside Iraqi banks, and why this could mark the beginning of the actual public exchange phase. The details coming out today are being interpreted by many as potentially redefining the global currency map forever. So let's dive into the specifics. Across Iraq, reports are surfacing that banks in major cities like Baghdad, Basra, and Erbil have begun the distribution of brand new, lower denomination dinar notes. We are talking about 1, 5, 10, and 20 IQD bills. According to these reports, these are not recycled stories or mere rumors. They are being described as physical notes, freshly printed, and already entering circulation. This one move, if confirmed to be widespread, changes the entire dynamic. The release of smaller notes signals that Iraq's internal value structure has fundamentally shifted, as this is the primary economic argument. Logically, a nation doesn't issue such low-valued currency unless the currency itself has been revalued upward. Let's think about that for a moment. If one dinar is worth less than a US penny, as it has been, a 1 or 5 dinar note would be functionally worthless paper. It would cost more to print than it is worth, and it could not be used for any practical transaction. The only reason these smaller bills would make economic sense is if the dinar's true purchasing power has been significantly increased. This is why this development is reportedly sending waves of excitement across both Iraqi citizens and international investors. The release of lower notes, in this context, is not seen as the beginning of a process. Instead, it is being interpreted as the public confirmation of something much larger that has already been set in motion behind the scenes. These lower denomination notes are not just smaller pieces of paper, they are said to represent a complete redesign of Iraq's financial identity. Early images and descriptions reportedly coming from citizens on the ground show modern features, including holographic seals, advanced watermarks, and sophisticated anti-counterfeit threads, all designed to protect the currency's value. A new Central Bank of Iraq insignia is also reportedly visible, reflecting Iraq's modernized banking structure. These upgrades are seen as proof that the central bank is serious about protecting value, improving public trust, and creating a sustainable, modern currency for everyday use. More importantly, the central bank has reportedly issued a statement that these new notes are being introduced to support the stability of the national currency. And this is the key phrase. Under the new exchange rate structure, that single line says everything. New exchange rate structure is the precise phrase that investors and observers have been waiting to hear for over a decade. It signals a shift that is not theoretical or planned for the future, but one that is functional, in progress, and finally visible inside Iraq's domestic economy. This is what separates the current news from years of past speculation. It's a tangible development that can be seen and, for those in Iraq, physically held, which is why it's being taken so seriously by the international community. Behind the scenes, the ripple effect of this development is reportedly already reaching the United States and beyond. Multiple banking insiders have allegedly reported that several major U.S. banks, including prominent names like Chase, Wells Fargo, and even smaller regional financial institutions, have begun conducting internal briefings. These briefings are reportedly related to new currency verification processes and procedures, with the specific focus on handling the Iraqi dinar. This is not being viewed as a coincidence. This is being interpreted as coordination. Whenever a country adjusts or revalues its currency, banks all across the world must synchronize their foreign exchange systems to reflect the new rate. They must update software, retrain staff, and ensure compliance measures are in place. The timing here, with Iraq reportedly releasing lower notes while international banks simultaneously update their currency handling protocols, is not seen as random. It's viewed as the puzzle pieces locking together in a precisely coordinated fashion. According to industry chatter, those updates have been happening in real time over the past 48 to 72 hours. This also casts a new light on reports from just weeks ago, when U.S. banks were seen testing internal dinar rate displays. These were not public rates, but some internal systems reportedly showed test values near $3.90, while others showed figures close to $5.30 per dinar. While those were dismissed as tests at the time, they hinted that the infrastructure for a higher valuation was already being implemented behind the curtain. Now that Iraq's lower notes are reportedly out, those tests suddenly make perfect sense to observers. It all appears to be part of a coordinated timeline. First, internal readiness and system testing. Second, the national release of the new currency. And third, the final phase of international visibility. The progression is unfolding exactly as many experts predicted it would, which is why the mood has shifted from simple excitement to a more cautious optimism among investors, economists, and observers across the board. Inside Iraq, the public reaction is being described as emotional and powerful. Citizens who have lived through decades of profound economic instability and hyperinflation are now reportedly holding brand new notes that finally feel valuable. Reports describe shopkeepers in Baghdad and Basra commenting that the new currency feels lighter, but stronger, both literally and symbolically. It is a tangible change from the large, cumbersome stacks of high-denomination notes they have been forced to use for years. Imagine spending a 1 or 5 dinar note for the first time in recent memory and having it be accepted for a meaningful purchase. It's not just a transaction, it's a deep psychological shift. It's a signal to the populace that their money, their national identity, finally carries meaning and stability again. For a population that has endured so much, this rollout represents a powerful form of hope, one that is grounded in what appears to be real, tangible financial reform. This move is also not happening in isolation. It was reported just last week that both the International Monetary Fund and the U.S. Treasury confirmed that Iraq's monetary reform and stabilization framework had been fully implemented and was now entering the integration phase. That word, integration, is key. It means Iraq is no longer operating in economic isolation. It is being reconnected to global financial systems, such as the international forex network and global trading markets. Once that integration is complete, Iraq's dinar will be visible and tradable internationally. This is the mechanism that opens the door for a transparent, global exchange at a recognized rate. This, in turn, would mark the official beginning of the long-anticipated revaluation's public phase. Bank systems around the world are reportedly quietly lining in preparation for this moment. Overnight system refreshes are being run to update international currency data. These internal syncs are routine, but when they happen across multiple institutions simultaneously and all point to one emerging currency, it usually signals that a major change is imminent. Banks cannot simply flip a switch for a new rate. They have to coordinate with the Federal Reserve, the SWIFT network, and global clearinghouses to ensure every rate reflects accurately worldwide. This syncing process typically takes a few days, and based on the current timing, many analysts believe we are approaching the final stretch. This, of course, brings us to the big question: the new rate itself. While the central bank has not published an official figure, estimates from multiple sources suggest it is hovering in a range between $3.25 and $3.80 US dollars per dinar. That rate aligns with analyses of Iraq's oil-backed economic model, its massive foreign reserve growth, and the practical usability of the new lowered denomination notes. At that valuation, a 10 dinar bill would equal roughly $32 to $38, a perfect range for everyday transactions. This isn't just random speculation, it's arithmetic that fits the logic of Iraq's new monetary structure. It's a rate that would support local commerce by making cash transactions manageable, while also maintaining Iraq's international competitiveness. This is the valuation that makes the 1, 5, 10, and 20 dinar notes practical, which is why this range is being so heavily discussed by analysts who have been following this situation. The next phase, and perhaps the most anticipated, is the global visibility phase. This is the moment when the new rate appears on international exchange platforms like Forex, on Bloomberg terminals, and in official bank databases. Once that happens, it becomes legally tradable worldwide, and banks will begin offering official exchanges to the public. Insiders suggest this could happen within days of Iraq's full system activation, which many believe is already underway. This would be the final confirmation, the moment when the world sees Iraq's dinar standing alongside other major currencies like the USD, the euro, and the pound. Inside Iraq, regional banks are already said to be preparing citizens for the redenomination exchange. This is the formal process where old, high-value notes, such as the 25,000 or 50,000 dinar bills, are swapped for the new, smaller denominations at the updated rate. It's not just a symbolic change, it is a full economic reset designed to stabilize the currency in circulation, prevent inflation, and modernize everyday transactions for the entire population. For many Iraqis, this is the first tangible sign that their nation's currency is being restored to real strength and stability after a generation of turmoil. For global markets, it signals that Iraq has finally achieved the fiscal and political stability needed to sustain such a bold monetary move. Meanwhile, across the United States, banks have reportedly been quietly preparing for a potential surge in dinar exchange requests. Leaked internal memos, according to some reports, reference emerging market currency adjustments, a technical phrase used to describe exactly this type of situation. Staff at major banks have reportedly undergone refresher training on foreign currency handling, compliant verification protocols, and procedures for high-value exchanges. In short, they are getting ready. The timing, right as Iraq confirms the release of lower notes, couldn't be more telling. It's as if both sides of the ocean are now aligned, waiting for the same final trigger to be pulled. For the dinar holders around the world, this is being described as the moment to stay calm, informed, and alert. The temptation to rush into premature exchanges or fall for false early access deals will be high, but the safest path is, and always has been, through official channels once the rate is publicly visible. When legitimate banks open their foreign currency desks for the new rate, everything will be secure, verified, and documented. Therefore, patience is key. The last thing anyone wants is to jeopardize years of waiting with a rushed, unsafe move. If everything continues on this track, legitimate exchange opportunities are reported to be right around the corner. Let's zoom out for a moment and see the bigger picture. This isn't just a local currency reform, it is being framed as a full-scale economic rebirth for Iraq. For years, the country has been rebuilding from conflict, restructuring its economy, and establishing global partnerships. Its oil exports are at record highs, its foreign reserves are growing, and its financial institutions have been audited and modernized with support from international organizations. The revaluation of the dinar is not just about numbers on a screen. It's about national pride, sovereignty, and a seat at the global economic table. The dinar's journey is one of patience, resilience, and deep-seated reform. It's the story of a nation that has refused to be defined by its past instability. Each step of this process, from government stabilization to economic modernization, has led to this very moment. And today, as lower denomination notes reportedly enter circulation, Iraq is signaling that it's ready to move forward, ready to rejoin the world economy with strength and confidence. This is more than financial news, it's history being written in real time. For the international community, this move could reshape how emerging markets are viewed. Iraq's successful currency reform could inspire similar efforts in other developing nations aiming to strengthen their financial independence. It shows that with transparency, international partnerships, and patience, even a country once on the edge of collapse can rebuild into a modern, respected economy. The world is watching closely, not just because of the potential financial implications, but because of the powerful example Iraq is setting for global financial restoration. In the next few days, all attention will turn to one thing: confirmation. When the new rate appears on global exchange systems, it will validate everything that has been unfolding. That will be the green light moment, when Iraq's revaluation becomes visible to every financial market on Earth. Until then, the message from experts is to keep your documents ready and your focus sharp, because after years of waiting, all signs indicate that the final exchange phase is not a distant dream anymore. It is reportedly happening right before our eyes. So, stay tuned, stay prepared, and stay informed, because the world might be witnessing one of the most significant currency events of our generation. This is the RV confirmation alert, and if these developments hold true, we are witnessing Iraq's financial rebirth.